Hi guys, this film is about French doctors and what I have gleaned so far from seeing probably about 6 in total since I've lived here in the last 2 years. I hope you can see me, you're sitting on the swing right now and I know it's like dappled sun and all that, but I love being outside, so you'll have to put up with it, I'm afraid. In the light? Not in the light, which is better, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, so I have spoken a bit about my doctors in relation to prescriptions and other films that I've done not that long ago. But I've seen a new doctor lately that works really differently to all the others, which is kind of interesting. So if you're thinking of moving to France, or you do live in France and you're not getting on with your doctor, then maybe this is a good film for you to watch. So the first doctor that became my docteur traitante, and I filled out all the paperwork and the forms, I soon realised after the second time I saw her that she knew nothing really about mental health illnesses or lithium. In France it's called terralite, lithium carbonate. And she was literally looking on the screen to find out what all the different things were to do with lithium, and I was like, oh great, here goes someone that doesn't know anything about my condition. And she was quite a young doctor and she'd just come to that practice, and now she's on long-term sick. So I just thought, okay, I'm going to quickly move on and find someone else, because I don't think this person's going to be helping me on my journey to bipolar recovery and anything else that I might want to do to heal in my body. I just didn't feel confident in her. So then my neighbour up the hill here suggested someone that's in Mastasile, and he's called Jacques Palouski. And a lot of people rate him really highly, and he has a very, very different way of dealing with patients or clients, customers. And at first, well, I was shocked from the beginning on in how a kind of one-on-one session goes with him. And he's like tries to get to the point of stuff really quickly, which is fine, I don't mind that. He's extremely personal, so he'll talk about his life and he'll talk about other patients in detail with you and how that might relate to you. He tells a lot of stories to try and get you to understand what he's trying to say. And he uses physical contact. So on the first time I met him, he asked me to hold his hands across the table like this. Sorry, I've got lots of... So kind of he took his hand like that. He was just kind of holding a bit. And I could kind of just about deal with that. I didn't feel hugely comfortable. That was the first time I met him, and I was like, this is a bit odd. I actually saw him about 6 or 7 times in the end. And sometimes he'd get me to lie on his bed, and he'd sit quite close and we'd talk about things, all sorts of different things. But he really went down the route of kind of trying to fix you psychologically and kind of seeing where your kind of underlying psychological difficulties might lie. And I'd come to him with gut problems and various things, and he might have a bit of a feel around my stomach and intestines and colon and things, and he's like, it's not that hard, it's still pretty soft or whatever. And sorry, you're swinging. And then on the last time I saw him, he said, oh, do you want to play a game? And I was like, I don't know, what kind of game? It's like... And he wanted me to sit on his lap almost so that he could be my father figure, as like a I don't know, to kind of show me what a hug felt like or something. And I was like, no, this is not right. This is not like doctor behaviour. And it might work for him and it might work for a lot of his patients, but it wasn't going to work for me. So I was like, right, that's the last time I'm seeing you, matey. we used to call him Mr. Dr. Friendly, and then I was just like, that's too friendly. So then I found Dr. Raskeli in Saint-Giron, and she was recommended from another friend of mine. She'd seen her for many, many years and had some, lots of good experiences with her being healed over the past. And when I went to her, I think I saw her 3 times and spoke to her on the phone a couple of times as well. She was the one that got me to have thyroid tests, and she read those very quickly and kind of put thyroxine, towards me. She was like, take thyroxine, and then she was like, okay, well, maybe because of the pains in your articulation, your joints, you should go and see a rheumatoid specialist. And they're independent in Saint-Gaudens, so you have to pay lots and then get reimbursed. But she kind of didn't organise that for me. She kind of let that go, and I was like, I just really didn't feel like she was taking me as a patient seriously. I felt like I was being shoveled through really quickly, and just kind of give her something so she can, go, and it would be quick and done with, and then the next of her million patients can come through the door. And she is really busy, and she's going to be retiring in March. And when she was she gave me blood pressure test. She said, oh, that's all fine and normal. She'd check my heart rate, and she'd kind of make these funny noises, but then didn't tell me what she thought. And the same when she kind of moved my my arm round, she kind of made a noise, and can hear all this cracking and stuff. And she was like, oh, she was just so quiet. She didn't give me any feedback. I was like, can't you just tell me what you're thinking, so I've got something to work with here, and what might be going on. And then the next doctor I saw said, oh, your thyroid levels, okay, they're 6.1, but he said that normally at 10, do you then give thyroxine? Another doctor after that one said, oh no, I would have given thyroxine. So basically all these doctors have different conflicting views. So anyway, I've let go of the Raskeli doctor in Saint-Giron, and then I went for a one-off with another doctor who was supposed to be really good too. And he just kind of saw this bipolar label across my forehead and sent me away with the kind of what would you call it, diagnosis of unconscious depression, and it was that was causing my symptoms and my pain. And he was basically suggesting, because I had low iron levels, he said, oh, you should have a coil fitted, and then you won't have your period, and then you'll have less blood loss, and then your iron levels will stay higher. So basically everything he was suggesting was to try and make sure that I stayed on my lithium medication and that I would keep stable with that mentally. And yeah, because I did talk to him about reducing my medication and wanting to start that and stuff. So I was like, okay, well, you've seen me as a bipolar patient, not as someone who's got all sorts of other things going on that I really want to, be enlightened about, and you're not going to do that for me. So then my osteopath suggested a different doctor nearby called Anna Raffanel, who's a bit alternative because she also does acupuncture. And the thing that's different about her is that she only has 1 hour a day where she sees patients for just GP work. And then the rest of the time it's all by appointment only. So whenever I go see her, we have a little chat, and then I'll go on her acupuncture bed and she'll put a whole load of needles in me. Which it's kind of nice on the one hand, because you kind of feel quite calm and tired and you feel like something's been done to you to do a difference, to make a difference. But she said to me, she said, I feel like I'm torturing you when I put the needles in. And it's kind of true, it's really painful. And I was like, for example, the one that she put in here, I said to her, you know, what does that one do? And she said, oh, that's for détente, which is a word for relaxation. And it was like so painful, like going up and around here. And I was just like deep breathing, and I can cope with this, because there were loads of other needles that were painful too. You know, she put them all up my spine, in the back of my neck, here, in my feet, up my legs in different places, in my stomach, and round my ribs. And it probably took about 10 to 15 minutes to start kind of relaxing from the kind of pain and intensity that I was feeling from, you know, what she was doing with the energy lines and the meridians with the acupuncture. But that evening I started getting the kidney pain. So it clearly wasn't going to do much healing. You know, that was still a huge issue. So I spoke to her this morning, and that's who I talked about in my my previous video where I talked about antibiotics. That's the same woman. And she thinks that I've got a B12 deficiency, and I'm still waiting another couple more days before I get this B12 urine test back. It's not a blood test, it's in the urine. Apparently it's more accurate in finding it. Quite often in the blood it doesn't come out as positive, even if you're low in B12. It just says the urine one is more accurate. So we'll see what she says. My husband thinks that she just, you know, knows that I'm vegan, and that she's almost kind of presuming that I would be low in B12 if I'm not taking a supplement regularly. And I did look at the symptoms for B12, and a lot of my symptoms do correlate, but then I have so many symptoms that they can correlate with so many different diseases of the body. So I'll be interested to see if that comes out positive or negative. I think this is going to count in a minute, so I better go. I hope that was interesting, and